Hey there, I'm Mark Richardson, and welcome to Stickerdick's Garage, the podcast where we're going to delve into the world of all things with motors. Whether it be motorcycles, cars, trucks, boats, etc., if it's got a motor, we're going to talk about it. Whether I'm sharing personal stories, chatting with guests, or just having some off-the-cuff fun, my goal is to leave you with something real. A laugh, a lesson, or a new way to look at motorsports lifestyles. Glad to have you here. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a ride. Welcome to the second episode of Stickerdick's Garage. I'm Mark Richardson, also known as Stickerdick. And for those of you that are watching the video version of this, to my right is my lovely bride. Believe it or not, I actually do have one, Susan Richardson. Say hi.
Hi.
And she says she's going to kill me if I do anything to embarrass her. So you might want to make sure you watch the audio version because it might be the last chance you see a murder on live TV. So we wanted to kind of get a background on how we met and how things became what they became, because you and I have been together for 50 years, which is hard to believe since you were 12.
Yeah, I know.
I know. It's crazy.
Who would have known?
Yeah, and I was 20.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Susie, as far as what your background is, where you came from, how you started life?
Oh my gosh. Well, I moved to Florida in 1976, shortly after graduating high school. I had spent my younger years in Pennsylvania and then in New Jersey. Spent a lot of time at the Jersey Shore. We spent summers living on a boat and just traveling and having fun with the family. And my dad got a job in Florida midway through my senior year in high school, and I begged him not to move until after I graduated. So as I was walking down the aisle getting my diploma, he was packing bags. And we were here about a week after I graduated. So that was my
And you were
entry into
definitely,
Florida life,
yeah,
which was very different from New Jersey.
no joke, because you were definitely a Yankee.
It was a culture shock.
Yeah, she has a Southern accent now, if you can't tell, because when we went up to visit her friends and family, a year or two after we got married, the culture shock was opposite. But they all told her, you have a Southern accent. Well, to me, she still sounded like a damn Yankee, but that's the way it was. Well, here's how everything started. Think back to 1977, the disco era. Susan and I were going to FCC, Florida Junior College.
Florida Junior College, FJC.
Yeah.
It's changed its names a few
I
times.
was 19 at the time.
I was 18.
And so I was 20 then.
You were 20.
I was 20. And I had decided that it was time for me to do one of two things. I don't even know if Susie knows about this. I was taking a class at FJC called World Religions. And I was trying to make up my mind on what I was going to do with my life. And I had become, like I do, as we find out later on, with everything that I get a passion for, I take it too far. I decided that I needed to go to Israel and fight for the Jews in their independence, or get married. So luckily, I decided it was time to get married. So I went back to my list of girlfriends, and I started calling them up, all my old girlfriends. Some of them hung up on me. Some of them said, screw you. And I kept telling them, I want to go out and see if you're the one that I want to marry. And they were like nuts. They thought I was nuts, which I probably was. But anyway, one day, I did not know that you and I had a class together.
Yeah,
right?
We did. Accounting.
Woohoo!
Accounting
I failed
101.
That one. I guarantee you I failed that one.
I don't think you made it all the way through that class.
I don't think so either, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you didn't.
So, but I was interested and had been flirting with one of her girlfriends, and she had the classic 1970s Camaro hair. So you got to think, you got to vision.
She had the Farrah Fawcett hair.
hair
She had
everywhere. She had hair everywhere. And she was kind of thick in the booty and was definitely my type. And so I had set up a date with her. And about the week of the date, I happened to come into the library. And I was walking through the library and I saw her sitting at a table with this little skinny auburn-haired girl with the eyes the size of saucers, the huge eyes. And I was like, "Ooh, what's that?" And so I walked over and introduced myself. And what did you think?
I just knew that you and my girlfriend were flirting like crazy.
Yeah, but did you tell that I was looking at you at all or anything?
No, I
Yeah.
just was standing back watching the 2 of you flirting back and
Oh,
forth.
okay. Well, so of course, no cell phones back then.
Mm-mm.
So I go home and I just can't get Susan out of my mind. That was the first time I saw her, but there was something in me that said, "This is the woman. This is the girl I'm gonna marry." And one of the things I always tell her, and she thinks I'm crazy, is I said she was a skinny girl with a fat girl's soul, because I always liked thicker girls. I was into thicker girls. I always thought they had more self-confidence. They were a stronger, bolder person, and I enjoyed dating girls that were a little bit more, not fat, but just thick. And Susie was not thick. She was skinny. But so I called up her girlfriend and I said, "Hey, I need to talk to the girl that was with you at the library. Can you give me her number?" And she did. So I called you,
Mm-hmm.
asked you out for a date.
Yep.
And what did you say?
I said, okay.
Yeah. So that means she threw her girlfriend to the wolves. She didn't care one bit. Bye, bitches.
Oh, I had a conversation with Sherry or with her before then
Oh, okay.
because she called me and said, "Hey, Mark asked for your phone number." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, I think he's going to ask you out." And I was like, "Are you okay with that?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm okay with that." I said,
Oh, so
"Okay."
she wasn't gonna give a damn about me anyway, so it was fine.
She wasn't.
So I decided that I had to impress this girl because I was going to tell her right off the bat what the score was. So the first date that we arranged, I came to your house in a Spider, Alfa Romeo Spider convertible, bright red.
Mm-hmm.
So your dad was immensely impressed with the car I was driving.
Till,
You really didn't give a damn
till you smacked your head on
until yeah, because this is also the Disca era, and I'm 6'2", 200 pounds back then. Susie's 90 pounds and 5'5".
five.
So she was wearing heels. I was wearing platforms, which if you imagine, that made me 6'6". So I walked through the front door, stretched my hand out to shake her dad's hand, and smacked their chandelier right smack dab in the middle of my forehead, and about knocked myself out. So that was my first introduction to her family. So we go out on our date, and we go to Antiques, which was a restaurant that was really a cool restaurant back then, over by Regency Square Mall in Jacksonville, which malls were happening back then. They're not now.
Well, Regency was brand new back
Yeah,
then.
now they're tearing it down. It's gone. And Antiques is gone. But anyway, we were at that date, and basically I told Susan the story, except I didn't tell her part about trying to go fight for the Jews. And I told her I wanted to get married and that she was the one I was going to marry. And you said,
"Are you nuts?"
yeah. But at the end of the date, we went to a movie afterwards. When we came home, I said, "You want to go out for a second date?" And you went,
"Yep."
And I said, "Can we go out tomorrow?" And you went,
"Yep."
yeah. So the next night I came over and I picked her up in the,
I forget what car
it was the, I'll get it, the 1976 Jaguar XJ6 double overhead cam 4-door sports car that my mom had. So now your dad was even doubly impressed. He was like, "Wow, your dad was all in cool." You were like,
he liked sports cars.
he liked cars. You didn't really care.
Cars. I could care less.
So we went out on the second date. We had a good date. I told you again, I want to get married. You're the one. I want to get married to you. And you were like, yeah. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. You thought I was nuts,
I
didn't
thought
you?
you were nuts.
Okay. Asked you for a
Because
third.
at 19 or 18 years of age,
Right.
I was not even
thinking about getting
thinking
married.
about getting
Well, here's the
married.
bad part about it. I think the reason that your dad also liked me is because I'm 19 years old. I lived near St. Augustine with my family on the weekends. During the weekdays, I lived up in Jacksonville, but in the weekends, we lived at a little farm called Sit and Spit Farms, which we'll tell you about in a minute. And I had a curfew. At 19 years old, I had to be home by
midnight.
Susie had no curfew.
I had no curfew.
So I would have to bring her home because it'd take an hour to get from her house at the beach to my place in St. Augustine. So I had to bring her home at like 11,
About 11:15.
11:15, and I would haul boogie. I'm talking over 100 miles an hour to get home by midnight. My dad thought that was a good idea. He probably should not have kept that curfew after this. So I asked you for the third date. You said,
Yep.
yep. I showed up for the third date in a not an Astro, Dodge.
Panel van.
Well, it wasn't a panel van. It was a window, what we called a limo van. It had a Learjet interior. We used it in our
It
business.
was like a church van.
It was like a church van, but it had a Learjet interior. So, I mean, it was awesome. Her dad wasn't impressed with that.
Yeah, he wasn't real happy.
He
with
wasn't
that.
real happy about that one. You know, the old saying about if this van's rocking, don't come knocking.
Yeah,
Her dad didn't like that idea,
he
the
didn't
van.
like the van.
So, but anyway, we went out in the van, had a good time,
Mhm.
asked you for the fourth date. And you said, yep.
Yep.
I said, can we do it tomorrow night? She said,
Yep.
yep. So I came and I showed up in my dad's, it was his black 1976 Eldorado convertible. Now, this is a gangster car. It was awesome. It was longer.
It was
It was two
huge.
doors.
It was huge.
But it was huge. And it was ginormous. And it was like riding in your living room because
It
the
was
seats
like
were
a
like,
boat.
it was a boat. But it was cool.
It was cool, but it was a boat.
Yeah. So you were starting to get the idea that maybe I like cars.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
getting the idea.
And so now that's our fourth date.
Yep.
So now I said, look, you know, I'm serious. I keep bringing it up every night. I want to get married.
Mhm.
And you said, oh, I don't know. So I said, well, tomorrow night, last date, you want to go out on a date?
Yep.
And I said, you understand this is the last one.
Yep.
Okay. So I decided, okay, if I'm going to pull the trigger, I'm going to show her what I really am. So I showed up in my car, which was a red Gremlin with a 3-speed on the floor, no power steering, no power brakes, AC that we added under the dash. It was a piece of crap. My dad had bought it at an auction at the railroad.
It was bad.
It was bad.
It was really bad.
But it was my car. So I wanted her to see what she was really getting into. I forget where we went, probably one of the nightclubs, whatever, but we also went to a lot of movies. And, but then at the end of the date, I told her, I said, look, I'm serious. I love you. You are the woman of my dreams. I don't know why you're the woman of my dreams because you're a little skinny thing, but I want you to marry me. This is it. Are you going to marry me or not? And you said,
sure.
But there was a caveat.
But I'm not telling anybody until you put a ring on my finger.
Yeah. Now remember, I'm driving a crappy Gremlin. I don't have no money.
I figured it was buying me time.
Yeah, it didn't, did it?
No.
I went to my local jewelry pawn shop. A friend of our family, Bill Newman, everybody knew him as Uncle Willie. I went to him and told him, hey, I'm getting married. I need an engagement ring, but I ain't got no money. What can we do? And he said, bring her here and let me meet her. I said, okay. So I took her to meet Uncle Willie, and I warned her up front that Uncle Willie had this bad habit. When he met a nice young woman, he would give you a hug and pat you on the fanny. And you better not get mad and don't slap him because it's going to cost me money if you do. So we went and met him. You got your fanny pat. You picked out a ring. You didn't get the one you picked out because I couldn't afford it. But I bought you a ring and gave you the ring. And so we got officially engaged
August 27th.
August 27th of 1977.
Mm-hmm.
So by this time, I had met her family a couple times, but we decided to have a family dinner. And so this is kind of how we got to establish the culture differences here. You're talking about a little girl raised in New Jersey. I mean, Yankee. Like my grandfather, there was how you get fatherly advice, well, you get grandfatherly advice. And my grandfather had 2 words of advice for getting married. He said, don't marry a Yankee and don't marry a Catholic. Well, my brother married a Catholic and I'm marrying a Yankee. So he wasn't real happy. But, you know, he was fine. After he met her, he was okay with it. He was going to tolerate her. So I go to their house for dinner. Now, remember, I'm a Southern boy through and through. So I come to her house for dinner. She has a sister and a brother, her mom and her dad. We all sit down at the table. I'm sitting there, and your mom brings out the dinner, and what does she bring out?
A chicken.
A chicken.
A chicken.
Singular.
Singular.
A chicken.
A chicken.
Now there's mom, dad, little brother, sister, and me and Susie. And I'm going, what is everybody else going to eat? Because that chicken's mine. But I behaved. I took my piece of chicken. They had some vegetables,
Yeah.
some bread.
Some potatoes, I'm
yeah.
sure.
So when we got done, we went out on our date. And where'd we go?
We went out to eat.
That's right. Because I'm starving. So we go out to eat. So but she announced the engagement. Her mom and dad actually were not bad with it.
They were good with it.
And the only advice your mom gave you was, if you remember, I remember, if you don't know if you remember or not. She said, you ain't coming back home.
Yeah. Once you get married, you're out.
You're out. So it was like, bye, have a good time. Don't come to me with your problems.
Yeah.
So now we got to tell my parents. Now I kind of told them and I've warned them and they've met her, but she hasn't really been around us. Now there's my mom, my dad, my brother, and myself. And so I bring her down to Sit and Spit Farms, which is a place we had down south near State Road 13. It was called Sit and Spit Farms because my family was from Tennessee. My dad's side of the family is from Tennessee. He had an uncle, Uncle Bud. Uncle Bud was a useless, lazy man, but he had one wise saying. He said, all a man needed out of life was a place to sit and spit by the fire. And my dad, that stuck with him. So when we bought this 20 acres of property down on State Road 13, he decided that it should be called Sit and Spit Farms. And it became kind of a big deal as it grew, but it was really kind of funny. So we go down to Sit and Spit to have dinner with my family. So we show up and Susie sees it for the first time. And we walk into a place called Hooker Hall, which was our main house there. And it was a whorehouse that we bought in Palatka and had brought to the farm and rebuilt it, refurbished it. One large room with a kitchen, bathroom, and the dining room table was
huge,
as big as this studio. It was huge.
Huge.
And so Susie and I sit down with the family and I'll let you tell it.
His mom starts bringing out food and she keeps bringing out food and she's putting platters on the table. And I'm thinking, who all is coming to this dinner? I mean, there must be 20 more people showing up. No, it was just the 5 of us.
Yep. So Susie learned real quick, there's a difference between a Southern family and a Northern family. In a Southern family, you put on the show, you put out the food.
Oh, yeah.
And in my family, we did say our prayers before we ate, but then you better watch out. Don't get your hand in the way of somebody else going for the food.
Watch your fingers because you might lose some.
Yeah. So after that, I went to decide I needed to go to college. So I graduated from FJC. You graduated from FJC.
Mm-hmm.
You went to work for a survey company, correct? Surveyor company.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Florida State University because I decided that was the farthest way I could get away and still be in Florida from my family and still be close to Susie. So we're engaged. We're going to stay in the married dorms once we get married. And I'm going to school at FSU. This is now 1977, late 77, early 78. Mm-hmm. Right at the time we're planning the wedding, and Susie and I picked out a dorm room and all that, Ted Bundy hits. And life on Florida State University changed completely because there was mostly women going to school back then, not a lot of guys, and almost every guy on campus matched the description of Ted Bundy. So we were all getting stopped every day, frisked, talked to, while they were trying to find him. So of course it scared us, and it got to the point where
we just said, "Nah, we're not going to do that."
Not going to do that. And my dad had kept telling me, come to work for the family business. And back in 77, 78, we were selling carpet, and when I'd work in the summers, I was making what was equivalent to $50,000, $60,000 a year. Well, I mean, my God, in 77, that was a huge amount of money. So why did I need to go to college? So I said, fine. So I quit. So at that time, I quit, but not until after I got in my Gremlin, I got 3 or 4.
Every time he came home, he got a speeding ticket
in a Gremlin, which I don't know how I did that. Even the cop last time pulled me over laughed. He said, I can't believe you were doing 78 miles an hour in this car. I said, I can't either. And so anyway, I lost my license for a year. Right after we got married. When we got back from our honeymoon, which is going to be really funny, I lost my license for a year. So I had to carry a briefcase. I went and got a business-only license so I could drive during business. So I had to carry a briefcase everywhere I went, everywhere we went.
Yeah.
So we go to the beach.
And you always had to be in dress clothes.
And I had to be so I'd be like in regular clothes till we got to the beach, then I changed my beach clothes, whatever, so I wouldn't get a ticket and get in trouble. But when we got married down at Sit and Spit. Her father back then, which was her stepfather, my grandfather thought he was one of the groomsmen. He was dark-skinned, black hair, he was French, skin, thick, muscular, thin, and looked gorgeous. And he looked younger than some of my other groomsmen. But we had a really big wedding, big party. We got married in a Model T, so that was your next exposure to cars.
Yep.
So you were definitely finding out
There were cars everywhere.
cars everywhere.
Yeah.
You'll also see some pictures of a Trans Am. We had a black Trans Am that I bought. Susie had a 240Z. Back then it was a 72. And one of the first 240Zs. While we lived at the farm, we had animals. We had deers, we had goats, we had peacocks, but we also had wild cats. And Susie had to drive to work every morning like I did to Jacksonville. And back then, when she was still a daredevil, we would race the cars back and forth. Shh, I know. No, we never did. Never did.
No, never did that.
But we would race down 210. Well, one morning, we're running behind a little bit. Susie goes out, gets in her car, her 240Z, starts it up, and she goes, flappity, 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 flappity. And she comes in and goes, I don't know what's wrong with my car. Something's wrong with my car. So I come out and open the hood. And unfortunately, some of the outdoor cats decided to have the kittens hide up in her engine compartment. And
There was kittens everywhere.
there was kittens everywhere, and they
It was
weren't.
bad.
It was bad.
It was really, really bad.
It was really bad. So that was the first experience we had with tragedy with a car, and it wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
Later on in that same area, Susie, like I said, I developed her into a car person pretty quick. She had a Cougar, forget what year, but it was a
72.
convertible
It was a
Cougar,
72.
72, and it was brown. It was ugly. So we went and had it painted bright yellow, and she drove it back and forth, daily car. And one night she was driving home, and was this the one with the cows or with the kid?
No, there was a kid. And down near the farm, it was dark at night. I mean, it was pitch black. There were no street lights. There were no houses. There was no light coming from anything. It was dark. So it was your headlights, and that was it. And I'm driving down State Road 13, and all of a sudden, my headlights hit a person standing in the road in front of me.
Oh, man.
And I just turned the wheel real sharp, and then I'm looking at a telephone pole coming at me. So I turn it back the other direction, and I ended up going around in circles and spinning. I'm not really sure how many times I spun it around, but I ended up on the correct side of the road, but going in the wrong direction. And the kid is just still standing there in the middle of the road. And I got out, and evidently he was just walking down the road.
And he was deaf.
And he was deaf,
So he didn't know.
He didn't hear me coming,
No.
and it shook me to my
Yeah,
core.
that
I
was
mean,
crazy.
it was nuts.
But then another time she was driving down the road. I always got home faster than her, it seemed like. But so she's driving down the road and it's real foggy. And we had a dairy farm that was around our place. And some of the cows got out, and they were used to in the early evening and early
I
mornings.
guess they thought I was the feed truck.
So they surrounded her car.
Surrounded my car.
So I had to come rescue her and get the cows out of the way so she could come home.
And I just told him, go get the cows out of the way.
So going back to our honeymoon, we got married in, like I said, Sit and Spit, had an outdoor wedding. It was really a lot of fun. Well, my parents, we had planned on going to Gatlinburg for our honeymoon. And that's what everybody in the South did. You went to Gatlinburg for your honeymoon.
Gatlinburg.
Well, my parents said, no, we got you a special surprise. You're going to Monaco. Well, the first thing we did after we went, yay, is I had to go and look up where is Monaco? 'Cause I didn't know. Even though I was a car person, I did not realize that Monaco was a principality outside of France.
With a big Grand
With
Prix
a
race.
big Grand Prix race that I watched on TV every year and didn't realize it was in Monaco. So believe it or not, we went to Monaco for our honeymoon.
Mhm.
And we flew in and landed in Nice.
Mhm.
They drove us on a bus down into this principality. The place was like a fairy kingdom. It was beautiful.
It was absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous. But you were sick as a dog.
I don't know what hit me, but on that plane over there, we were going, I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and to the point where I was running a fever, and I just
Yeah.
felt
That.
awful by
Yeah.
the time we got there.
So I got on my own. I'm out running around trying to find her medicine. And I'm going up to all these policemen and people and going, where can I get medicine? Where can I get a pharmacy? What can I do this? Blah, blah, blah. And they kept looking at me like I was an idiot. And then finally one of them says, Pharmacia, and pointed at this building. And right there it says Pharmacia, which means pharmacy. So I got her some medicine, got her into her. Well, we were staying at the Lowe's Hotel, which was only the second casino in Monte Carlo. Because in Monaco and Monte Carlo, the residents do not pay taxes because the casinos support the whole principality.
Mhm.
So the only rule was the residents were not allowed to play in the casinos. Well, I didn't know all this. So I went in down to the casino because she's sick. So I go down to the casino. I'm playing with these, fake money as far as I'm concerned. French francs. I didn't know what they
It
were.
was francs back
A
then.
franc, yeah.
The euro hadn't been invented. It
No,
was
so
francs.
yeah, francs. And so I'm playing blackjack. That's the only game I really like to play. And I'm playing blackjack. And I'm doing okay. And actually I'm doing pretty good. And this guy is standing behind me and starts betting behind me, putting money on my table. And I'm looking up, what the hell? And he's, I win, he wins and everything. And he's not talking to me, I'm not talking to him, but he's taking his money, I'm taking my money, but I'm not figuring out what it is. Well, finally I asked the dealer, what's the story? And she said, well, he's probably a resident here and he's not allowed to play. He can't sit at the tables, but he can side bet with you. And that's what he's doing. I went, oh, okay. So that's what was happening. So I came upstairs afterwards and I'd won $900. Now that's 1978. $900 is a lot of money. And so Susie was like, that's great. Well, next morning she's feeling good. And it was really different back then. It's changed a lot now.
Yeah.
But anyway, she went to the casino and promptly
I spent your money.
he spent the
I put
money,
it
gave it all back.
Back in the local economy.
So that was it. That was gone. But it was so funny when we're doing the tour in there, and there's Ferraris and Maseratis and all kinds of cool cars, and I'm going nuts. She's going nuts.
And then there's a beautiful marina with
And
beautiful boats. And I grew up around boats, so
she was all excited about
I was
that.
like, I loved looking at all the
And
boats.
we'd walk all over the place, and of course, we're trying to be as cool and confident as we can be, but we definitely stand out as tourists. We got done, got back home. We're going to make a part 2 out of this eventually, let y'all know more about us. But basically, Susie, who is also known as Ninja Susie, and we'll go into that later on about why she's called that, but she became a car girl.
Mm-hmm.
And you helped support my habit, even though you didn't really want to. And you gave me my self-confidence to stand up to my dad and start my own business, grow my own business.
Yep.
You raised our son. I helped some, you tell me.
Yes.
I don't really recall.
Yes.
But
You were there.
I was there. But basically, Susan is the reason I'm Stickerdick. Even though Ronnie nicknamed me Stickerdick, Susan gave me the confidence to become Susan Stickerdick. She's the one that has stood behind my choices and decisions, right or wrong. She has supported me our whole life for 50 years now.
Yeah.
I love her with all my heart.
I love you too.
I'm glad. And I just want everybody to know that if you see this little woman with me, don't make her mad, because if she gives you the eyebrow, it's scary. It's scary, dude. All right, well,
Sometimes I have to just, put my
yeah,
foot
there's
down.
times when you put your foot down. Yeah,
Put my
yeah,
foot
yeah.
down.
When I just tried to buy an E-Ray, she said,
No.
yeah, so that's the way it goes. But part 2 will come later on, guys. Thank you. Peace out. Have a good one. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for riding along with me today. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and follow along with Stickerdick's Garage wherever you get your podcast. If you're loving the show, do me a favor. Tell a friend on your next ride. Until next time, keep making those bad decisions worth remembering. Because as we all know, bad choices make great stories.